Hey everybody, Aaron Cowan, Sage Dynamics, and this is the American Defense Manufacturing's UIC 10 Alpha. In a market that's inundated with AR-10s. Any company that makes an AR-15 probably also offers something in the AR-10 variant that shoots most likely 308, but you also see some 6.5 Creedmoor, some 300 Win Mag, and I believe there's a few 338 Lapuas floating around out there. So how do you, as a company, set yourself apart in producing something chambered traditionally in 308, but like I said, other calibers are an option, but an AR-10 variant rifle? If you're familiar with the AR-10, especially the history, the CD, sometimes CD history of the AR-10, is there's no real agreed upon specifications like you'd get from an AR-15, the quote-unquote mil spec. So when you're building an AR-10, it's pretty much like, okay, which magazine do we want to feed the ammunition? And the rest is kind of just, well, up to the builder or up to the manufacturer. Now, if you're just building rifles, then you're kind of victim to the parts that are available. But if you're manufacturing a lot of or all of your own components, you can really do things that are, well, innovative, and you have a little bit more control over your destiny as a company and the quality of the product that you produce. Like many companies, what ADM did with their AR-10 variant, the UIC 10, is not a great departure from what they already offer in their AR-15 variants, the UIC carbine, the universally improved carbine. They took the same features, and the features are where it really starts. You're getting their complete 100% ambidextrous controls. It's not kinda ambi, it's not sorta ambi, it's not ambi with an asterisk, it's not ambi except for this one feature. It's 100% ambidextrous if you leave the controls as they come from the factory. Ambidextrous short throw selector, ambidextrous charging handle, and ambidextrous bolt release and bolt lock to the rear. So I can control all of the major functions of the rifle from the shooting hand, be it left-handed or right-handed. And that's just something that ADM has been known for since initially releasing the UIC. So having those same features on their AR-10 variant was kind of a given. Now the rifle I was sent is in their designated marksman configuration, which gives me a 16-inch heavy profile barrel. It also gives me the standard features like I already talked about that are known across the UIC line, and the new B5 system stock. This is B5's first entry into what I consider to be a precision focused stock that gives me the cheek weld and the length of pull adjustments. And another cool feature about the B5 is underneath I can attach a pick rail section or a monopod directly to that, so if that's something that I want to use, I have it. Of course, it's got its QD attachments. I've got a couple stocks in this configuration. One of probably the most well-known ones is the Magpul, but I've also got the LMT, which has always been a favorite of mine. I actually like this stock better than all of those because it's an ease of adjustment. It's more carbine style as far as adjustments are concerned, but I get the added features of the cheek riser and the length of pull adjustment if I need just a little bit more that I can't get out of my traditional 5 or 6 position adjustment on the buffer tube. Just like every firearm review, I did a 2,000 round review process. The only departure for precision rifles versus everything else that I do in the review process is there is really no burn down. I'm not going to do 500 rounds of sustained really fast fire through what I consider to be a precision platform. For a number of reasons, the main reason being I just don't expect that particular rifle to be necessarily used under those conditions. 500 rounds in 3 or 4 minutes is a high rate of fire for something that's basically a precision instrument. It's not something that's expected to be able to endure, and let's be honest, 500 rounds of 308 is something you're probably not likely to be carrying around in any real-world application unless you're shooting a crew serve weapon. The rest of the 2,000 round review process remains the same. For this particular rifle, I shot 168 grain Hornady match. That was the ammunition first to last round for the 2,000 rounds of the review process. My initial impressions of the rifle were it's not unnecessarily heavy. It felt like what an AR-10 should feel like. I mean, we're shooting 308, so I expect the firearm to be a little heavier just in general. But everything worked exactly like it was supposed to work immediately. I didn't have any break-in period on the selector or the charging handle or the magazine release or the bolt catch, the bolt release, which I think is an important part. I've used some ambi lowers in the past that had an ambi bolt release, not so much a catch, because a lot of people who say their lowers are ambi, they only allow you to release the bolt from the right side of the rifle. They don't allow you to lock it to the rear from the right side of the rifle. But specifically what I'm talking about is some of those things can be a little too hard to reach, or they don't work well right out of the box. You got to break them in, you got to press really hard. I've used some in the past where it was just so aggravating that I would just go ahead and use the traditional paddle release because I didn't feel like going through that process. With the UIC coming over from the rifle and then onto their AR-10 variant, it's intuitive, it's well placed, it's ergonomic. I can get to it no matter what position I'm shooting from, prone, standing, using a hog saddle, whatever, off the bipod. I don't have to struggle in order to manipulate the bolt release. Now, the bolt they use in the rifle is the Lantac EBCG for their 308. If you're not familiar with the Lantac EBCG, I've done a video specifically on their AR-15 variant. Very happy with its performance, both unsuppressed and suppressed. While shooting this rifle suppressed, I use a Surefire 30 cal suppressor. And of course, the muzzle device I chose for my review process was the Warcomp in 308, because the Warcomp's one of my favorite muzzle devices, and Surefire's one of my favorite cans. So I figured, you know, why not pair the two together for the review process? Some AR-10s can be very finicky when you suppress them. This definitely wasn't the case with the UIC 10 Alpha. Also didn't see a considerable, or really noticeable at all, zero shift, but of course that's more attributable to the suppressor, not so much the firearm itself. So we're not really going to get into that. I definitely received the 10 Alpha for review at the right time of the year, just towards the end of the summer, 2019, getting into fall here in Georgia. During the 2,000 round review process, I was able to experience the weather conditions that Georgia has to offer as we start to see our season change. So it started out in the heat of the summer. I didn't really see any significant issues, not really any issues at all. Then I got into the cold, the rain, shooting it at night, and here in Georgia at night it gets really, really, really wet. And I've had that create some issues in firearms in the past, especially when you're shooting them suppressed and you let them cool and then heat them right back up again. Things can get a little gummy. The QC that went into the 10 Alpha is probably one of my favorite features because you can tell that there was great attention to detail put in parts compatibility and overall function. And because American Defense Manufacturing, it's in the name, they manufacture almost all their own components in-house, they have a great deal of control over quality and compatibility, which definitely shows in the functionality of the firearm. Of course, the elephant in the room is accuracy. How accurate is the UIC 10 Alpha? Some AR-10s or AR-10s in general, that particular configuration, have had kind of a complicated reputation of accuracy not being what you'd expect from the 308 cartridge, especially shooting high-quality ammunition. Now, you should not necessarily expect the same performance out of a semi-automatic that you're going to get out of a bolt gun for very specific reasons involved in cycle of operation and fire and things of that nature. Generally, the AR-10 platform has been a little less accurate than its bolt gun cousins. And the reasons being is there's more moving parts, recoil pulses, different loading, chamber, stagger fed, magazine. Like there's all these small little factors that go into combine into the firearm just being generally less accurate. The barrel, while important, is only one factor in creating an accuracy. The way that the ammunition is loaded and what kind of shock and abrasion and friction the ammunition takes while being loaded is definitely a contributing factor to ultimately how accurate that shot's going to be when it leaves the barrel. So I'm expecting sub-MOA accuracy out of an AR-10 for me to consider it to be a precision platform worth the time, as I would consider for any precision platform, be it bolt gun or semi-automatic or what have you. So for the USC 10, I did what I would do with pretty much any other rifle. I wanted to see what kind of group I could get for 100 meters. So here is my 100 meter group shooting 168 grain Hornady match. But But that's just an initial benchmark. For a magnified optic rifle, 100 meters or 100 yards if you want, generally I zero my precision guns in meters just because the math works out better when I'm making my adjustments, so dialing in, if you will, than converting over from yards, because a lot of the optics out there are set up for meters. I'm a big fan of MRAD. But you know, MOA is to me is easier in meters than it is in yards, just doing the math, using depending on what reticle you're using, of course. But 100 meters to me is like the standard. Like if you shoot a sub MOA group at 100 meters on a rifle, it's like, congratulations, you know how to tie your shoes. The rifle should be capable of doing that, even if it's just under 1 MOA. Sub MOA is what I'm expecting for anybody who's going to hang the title of designated marksman rifle or sniper rifle or precision rifle on their rifle. So let's put it out to 200 meters on paper. That's still sub MOA, and that's exactly what we're looking for. So at 200 meters, I'm still carrying that performance forward. Granted, the group's a little bit wider, but that's how MOA works. 1 MOA at 100 meters is an inch, 1 MOA at 200 meters is roughly 2 inches, so on and so forth. So I'm maintaining a high degree of accuracy out to 200, but I have the ability to shoot it further than that. So let's see how well the UIC 10A does at 300 meters on paper. Sub-MOA maintained out to 300 meters. Unfortunately, as far as paper goes, that's as far as I was able to print the rifle. But 300 meters maintaining sub-MOA accuracy, that's pretty good. I'm very, very happy with the performance overall of the UIC 10. I was able to reach out much further on steel just to really stretch the legs of the UIC. Some people believe that precision rifles have to have longer barrels, 20, 22, 24, 26 inches, and that's not true at all. You can be very, very precise with the shorter barrels, and my personal feeling is 16-inch barrels in a precision rifle is the optimal barrel length to maintain your muzzle velocity, but also provide you with the ability to be extremely accurate. You can go shorter than that, but then you're going to lose that muzzle velocity while you still may be able to maintain the accuracy. So I want the accuracy and I want the muzzle velocity, and for me 16 inches in 308 or 223-556 is an excellent barrel length to allow a rifle to be maneuverable, to be versatile, especially once you put a suppressor on it, extending that length out. It's still going to give you the performance that you're going to want and expect at a precision platform without having to get into ridiculous barrel lengths, because those barrel lengths were to compensate for ammunition technology at the time. While you still can use them and they're still vulnerable and they're still extremely accurate, and some of your world record-setting guns have very, very long barrels, this rifle's intent is not necessarily to set world records. It's to be precise and accurate at the reasonable distances you would shoot it at. And being able to stretch the legs of the UIC 10 Alpha, I was able to get hits out to, as you're seeing, pretty reasonable distances for a precision platform, and it's consistent. I'm able to get the hits that I want even as the gun heats up, even as the gun warms. It performs like I'd want it to perform. My feelings about the AR-10 platform in general is been pretty ambivalent towards it. I've had AR-10s in the past, and it's not something if I was going to go do some long range or some precision shooting, it wasn't the firearm I was reaching for. I was more likely to reach for a bolt gun or something precision platform in 223-556, because in my experience, those platforms are less problematic, less prone to issues. They're not as finicky on the ammunition. And well, they just perform better. At the end of the day, if I want to shoot precision, I don't want to be frustrated with the platform I'm trying to be precise with. There's a lot to be said about the 308 round. It's a very venerable round. What I like about the UIC 10 is the fact that it's something I'm going to reach for. I like it a lot. It's something that provides the accuracy I want. It can handle accuracy as the barrel heats up. And it wasn't finicky. Finicky about the magazines, it wasn't finicky about the ammunition I fed it, it wasn't finicky at all. It just performed. I didn't have any issues with it. I was able to suppress it. I was able to shoot it unsuppressed, suppressed, in any of the conditions that I wanted to shoot it in, and it didn't give me any problems from first to last round, which to me was almost incomprehensible. Because my experience with every AR-10 platform I've ever owned is it's not if it's going to malfunction, it's when it's going to malfunction, how often it's going to malfunction, and what kind of interesting malfunction it's going to be. ADM did not produce a rifle that gave me those problems. So what are my final impressions on the ADM UIC 10 Alpha? If you're looking for a 308 in the AR configuration, just get this one. Don't worry about anything else. Don't shop, don't hem, don't haw, don't compare features. Just buy this one. That's my honest to God opinion. This is the rifle you need to have if you're going to shoot 308 in an AR platform. That's pretty much the end of the statement. Everything about this rifle is everything I would want in a semi-automatic 308 platform that's AR variant. If you're considering a semi-automatic 308 in some other configuration, don't. Just get this one. This is the one you need. It's reasonably priced. It comes out of the box with a lot of the features that you'd want, so you don't have to then buy additional parts. The quality, the consistency, the accuracy, everything you'd really want, so I don't really see any reason to shop elsewhere for parts. Of course, you can buy just the upper receiver group, and that's going to give you the accuracy and the precision, but you really need the lower receiver group, as in the complete rifle, to appreciate everything working in concert and harmony with each other and giving you the performance that you'd expect from a 308. And people might say, well, what about nothing? This is it. And this, of course, this is my opinion, and this is my video, and this is my channel, and this is my review. So, of course, you have to take that with a grain of salt, if you will. But if you're looking for my opinion on either the quality of this rifle or which AR-10 you should get in general, this is the one to get. I'm Aaron Count with Sage Dynamics. Train accordingly.